Hi friends, welcome back to Crafting and Relaxing, and if you're a first-time viewer, welcome. So happy to have you. Today I'm using my Encyclopedia Britannica Atlas that's very old, that came from a garage sale for $1, and I thought about using it for envelopes. So I went back through and looked at it a different way. Last time I made a video on a card about Idaho, so I'll link to that in the description below. This time I went through and I looked at it to see, I need to move my coffee, there we go. If there were blank pages, which there are quite a few, I was surprised. The different colors, there's a lot of text. There's quite a bit of variety in this giant old book for $1, so a lot of options. I chose a page. The person who receives this envelope lives in Maryland, so that's why I picked this one. And I looked at the color a little bit and thought about it. Maryland's a harder state because some of the other ones took up the whole page. So this one I'm going to have some different cutouts, but that's okay. And I'm going to cut this into, I don't have a card designed yet. So just in case, I'm going to cut it 8 1/4 in case I want a lot of dimension on that card in the long run. And I'm going to start by just sort of guessing where I have another video where I spent some time showing you how to pick this section of the paper. I'm not going to work at this one too much, but it's a similar idea. I want it to be the map itself, not the printed edge. Maybe I'll do another one where I pick, oh, that would have been fun, but that's okay. So we'll go 8 1/4. And I cut it out of the book with a box knife too. So at the same time, I have to be sure I square this up. I'm gonna go over a little bit right here because I don't think I want to lose all of that. Let's see. Need to square up this edge. And if you haven't seen my other envelope videos, I have an envelope playlist, and I'll link to them down below. The idea is that you need a square. 8 inches is a basic A2 card. You can make them bigger if you're trying to, I'm just checking my measurements, if you're trying to leave room for a large card with a lot of accents or foam mount. Okay. Then we take this. This is the EK Tools scoring board. And again, this is not my first video on envelopes. This is just the one I wanted to try today. So I'm bringing you along with me. So if you haven't seen one and you want to make envelopes, go back and watch the earlier ones. Okay, this paper is super thin. It's old, but it's sturdy, but it's also thin. So I'm going to have to be super careful about using my tool. I'm not going to use the point. I'm going to use this part of it right here. And also, I'm going to be much more gentle on the pressure than when I'm folding a card base or working with cardstock. I'm not overly attached to this piece of paper. It's not as much pressure as when I was making the Idaho card. But again, I would like to have a Maryland one. So I'm going to turn this over so that my lines, I don't know, it doesn't matter. My paper's thin, it'll be easy to score. So in fact, I'm going to keep it right side up so I can see how the lines will lay out depending on like how my envelope's forming. Okay, so this would be the side and it would go across here. Okay, let's try it. I have 2 3/4 and 3 1/2 pre-marked to make an A2 card. I just took a Sharpie and drew it on there. And I lay it at an angle and hold it steady because this is thin paper, so it's trickier. And just drag this across very gently at this point, almost no pressure. And it's easier to go back and forth a couple times gently than to do it once too stiff. And I can feel it. There you go. So you can see that's what we're going for. Nothing too crazy. You turn it a complete 180. I like to do a 180 and do the exact same line because I've already scoped out that line. I've found it. I can do it while I'm talking. Then I do the other two. So the two directly across from each other need to use the same measurement. So this one's 3 1/2. and then 3.5 again. Oh, this is going to be cute. Okay, can you see how it's coming together? This is another thing about making your own envelopes, is you can see how it's going to come together. Maryland's going to be right across the front of it. I like to flip it over for visibility to see these sections better when you cut them out. You just take a small pair of scissors and you can cut them at perfect 90s if you want. I cut them a little fatter so it folds nice and I don't have to touch it up later. So I cut like on the outside of the folds a little bit. But this is not rocket science. That's why I love making envelopes. It's super easy, relaxing. You get to see how fun they turn out. There's not a lot of pressure. So in the end, it looks like this. If you wanted, you could use the other side. Great color, all kinds of things. If you're using a double-sided paper, be sure and check both sides before you commit. I would like the word Maryland to be right side up. So this is going to be the bottom of my envelope. And I'm going to fold. And this, again, I mean, if you've seen my other videos, do not stress about making envelopes. It's awesome. It's cheap. It's relaxing. And how cute is this? So this is going to be the front of my envelope. I got a little crooked there talking too. And so let me check that. Okay, I need to go back and yeah, I completely missed the fold while I was talking. There we go. And you can see it's going to say Maryland right there. If you have labels and you use labels, you could put one on the front. I just use a great big Sharpie or a big fat end like that on a marker. Nothing fancy. Just be sure you address if you're going to use Sharpies or alcohol markers, be sure you address that envelope before you put your card in there, because it's likely going to bleed through, especially if you slow down and do some nice big letters and have fun with it. The only other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to straighten this side out that is still crooked. And because I have the glass mat, I can just lay it right on here and look at my line and straighten it out. And I'm going to take my scissors. Again, I still haven't tested this. I don't know if anyone would notice or it matters. And I'm going to cut out this little square right here is essentially what you're doing. And you notice I don't even measure it. You can glue them down and check them if you want. Then I'm going to put glue along the bottom. And I am right now very low on adhesives. I'm going to use my art glitter glue. You could use a glue stick. You could use Elmer's. You could use a fancy tape runner. Anything you have. Be sure you remember to cut out that middle and you don't close that and glue your envelope shut. There you go. Put that on there. Then I don't glue this flap until I put my card in it, until I'm completely done and addressed. If you want to make envelopes as gifts, you could put something like this where it's a double-sided adhesive with a cover. You could put some of this across here and then the recipient could peel that off when they go to mail it. There's also an adhesive that you take and I think you roll it on and then it dries and it becomes a lick and stick adhesive. But I have this, so if I was giving cards to somebody who wasn't a card maker or I didn't want them to have to mess around with glue, I'd just put a little strip right there and a little strip right there and they'd be set. So there you go. There's the envelope for today. I could put washi tape on it. I could take a pen and do some doodling. I'm not sure which way I'm going to take it. It depends on what kind of a card I make to go inside. But there's the envelope for today. Thanks for crafting and relaxing, and have a great day. Bye-bye.